Don, what's up, man?
A whole bunch. How about you?
I'm pretty pumped up. Went and saw Top Gun.
Nice.
And my wife's throwing rocks at me now because she watched those guys playing football on the beach.
All right, so that's the volleyball scene reincarnated, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cute how they worked all that movie in. So it was pretty good.
Okay. Did they play you? You just lost that loving feeling?
I was thinking they were playing that on the piano song. What was the song they were playing on the piano before? It was that rattle my brain.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
anyway, I was waiting for the loving.
That would be Great Balls of Fire, guys.
Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah,
Jerry Lee Lewis.
That was before my time, John. So I don't know it.
Me too. Thanks, John.
All right, Denise is back. Welcome back, Denise. Uh-oh. Here we go. I got almost 1 o'clock. Are we going live anymore on Facebook? Sunny. I don't know if we're going live on Facebook. All right.
Yeah, I don't have the ability to do that, Den. Sorry.
Why don't you?
Because that would require me having access to our your Facebook account, which I don't have.
All right.
Sunny does, and she's still here.
Yeah, Sunny, do we still do Facebook?
Yes.
Are you going to launch it?
Am I going to launch it or watch it?
No, launch it.
I need host capability.
Got it. All right, and we'll get started. So, John, kick us off.
All right, how is it? How is everyone doing out there right now? What are you guys seeing? Tell me something good. Come on, Willie.
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. So I'm in the buyer's presentation part of the 66 days. So I just held my first open house, the KCN way, last weekend. 23 participants, 10 sign-ins, 1 appointment. It was fantastic. So got another open house tomorrow. I'm going to do the same thing. This time was the first time I got to mess with slide dial. That's awesome. Okay.
Be careful. Be
Denny,
careful with that.
But today, on Denny's behalf, today I go door knocking, of course, to 25 to 30 homes. And that's
Awesome.
where the magic really happens, I have found.
So, Willie, I love the fact that you're using slide dial. Make sure you are doing it exactly by the playbook.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Right next to the
Keeps you safe that way. So,
Yep.
Willie, can I ask you a rhetorical question?
Yeah.
What would it be like for you if every week you picked up a new appointment? One new appointment with a serious buyer or seller every week.
That would avalanche into the answer to a couple of my weekly and monthly and yearly goals. So that would be 36 new appointments a year.
Last I checked, there's 52 weeks in a year, so I'm going to go with 52 new appointments.
Well, holiday weekend.
Well, you're taking a lot of time off, and that's good. That's about 3 months. Nothing wrong with that. So what would it look like if you had one ready, willing, and able appointment per week? Better question or follow-up question. What do you need for a closing ratio in order to meet your goals if you have one appointment a week?
I'd be halfway there on my goals currently.
Awesome.
Two a month.
Awesome. Love it. What else is happening?
I got a lot more inventory here in Colorado Springs than buyers. I don't know. Everything else is looking pretty good.
Thanks, Billy. How about some other people out there? I've got something really kind of special for you. I want your 2 cents worth. You don't know, I always have the thought of the day. So welcome to Mastery Question-Based Listening and Enhanced Conversations. If you want to reach out, and maybe John will put this into the chat, if you want to reach out to me, I'm at dennydelivers@gmail.com. I'm sorry, dennydelivers training@gmail.com. And you know, we always work on here. There's many ways in which to have a conversation. However, what we like to do is work on question-based, listening-enhanced conversations. And the key there is listening. I love the word listening because I call it the art of silence. It's amazing what you can hear when you choose to listen. And if you haven't already, go to YouTube, Denny Grimes Mastery of Real Estate, and subscribe. I've got more videos there for the last year and a half, and we're working on getting to the 500 number of subscriptions. So if you do that, hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we post something. And I usually post, and I always post my TV spot, which you might find somewhat informational, and it's only 3 minutes. So you could probably stay awake for that one. All right, you ready for my thought of the day? And this is what I want to talk about here for a few minutes, and then you can give me your thoughts if you want, or comments. John is going to be monitoring the chat. I want to talk about how to lead stronger conversations in a shifting market. And the key word there is lead conversations. If you could be a fly in the wall and watch a salesperson meet with a potential seller or buyer, you would know their level of expertise and experience by just listening to them. And one of the things you'll watch for or listen for is that the best agents talk the least. Y'all agree with that? They ask questions, they talk the least. So I want to give you a couple points about this because the media is all over this, and I just want to add some clarity. Give me your thought. I got 4 really quick points for my thought of the day. Number 1, the market is shifting. Now, if you can unmute yourself, I want you to just participate here with me 1 second. When you hear the market is shifting, what is the first thing that comes to your brain? Somebody share with me. No wrong answer.
It'll go from a seller's market to a buyer's market.
Awesome. Give me something else.
More
Price
inventory.
More inventory. Keep going.
Price reductions.
All right, keep going.
Topics
Panic.
I discuss.
Panic, right. Well, all right, I'm saying there was one more that you got. Who was the last one? Was that Willie?
Yeah. When I think of a shift, I think of a whole other different topics that I speak to my clients, and how do I speak to them, and marketing. I market different.
Do you know what a shift is? It's a change. So when you had back in the olden days when I had cars, and no, I didn't have to crank it in the front to start it. However, we had a lot of standard transmissions, right? And you would shift gears. And I see that I'm locked. You can still hear me. I'll come back here in just a second. Hang on. Give me 1 second.
I still drive a stick shift.
Yes, well, they're fun.
They keep you awake behind the wheel.
Okay, I'm back. So a shift is a change. Now, you just gave me a lot of adjectives that describe a shift. Now, I would say that most of you probably associated that with a negative thought. A shift is just a change. It does not mean prices fall. It means the velocity or something changes. Now, if you had those thoughts and you're not a buyer, we're practitioners, do you think buyers magnify those thoughts in their mind when they hear and read about the market changing, the market shifting? Today, what's the big, when there's news every day, today, Elon Musk said what? I'm going to lay off 10% of my workers because I see a major economic collapse coming. So what do you think goes through the buyer's mind? What I want you to understand is everything is multiplied. However, I don't want you to multiply it in your mind, because what we're seeing here in our market, and John watches the Naples stats, and I kind of watch Fort Myers stats, and we've got Denise in the market here that works in the same market. We have not been able to document a fall in prices yet, although our market is shifting. Would you agree that the market is changing? And if you agree with that, and it can be the mood of the market, it changes a shift. When I look at the widget in our MLS compared to the listings on the market versus the pendings, for the first time this week, I saw more listings coming in than pendings going off. There's something happening out there. Would you agree? Yes or no? Just give me a thumbs up. For us to be able to handle reality, we have to be in reality. Just because we don't see it in the numbers yet does not mean the market's not shifting, because there's certainly a lot of news out there In fact, I just got this the other day. Is it a housing bubble? Nearly 68% of all housing markets are overvalued. Oh boy, I'm a buyer. I'm ready to rush out there and get into a bidding war. Really? I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, Inman's got a class coming up here in August to talk about the shifting market. Everyone's talking about it. Gary Keller, if you're with Keller Williams, he's kind of an opinion leader. He just said this week, make no mistake about it, it's a shift. A shift is happening. So I'm not going to preach anymore about that. I just don't want you to be in denial. Are we good on that? A shift is not a crash. A buyer will assume a shift equals crash. So I want to make sure that your mind's not going down that path. It may happen, however, that doesn't necessarily mean it happens. Okay, here's the challenge with the shift. Point 2, and I'm going to make 4 points very quickly. Point number 2 is a shift causes an expectation gap. There's always an expectation gap in what we do, even in a balanced market. I mean, the seller wants this, the buyer wants to pay that, and they go negotiate. The market we've just been in for the last year and a half or 2 years, the seller wants this and the buyer pays that, right? So what's happening is sellers are still probably thinking, in fact, I've got a little, if you can see, anybody remember this type of stove? I mean, I used to cook my Jiffy Pop on that. You guys probably don't even know what Jiffy Pop is. You can't put a Jiffy Pop in the microwave, you guys. Don't try it, Willie. Anyway, the sellers still think the market is uber fast like that, right? And this, although this slide is a little hard to see, this is how the buyers are reacting. The expectation gap gets wider. And when that happens, guess what? We have to up our game into conversations. The problem we had 3 months ago is we had no inventory and all these buyers. Now you're going to have buyers wanting to back off. Sellers are still wanting top dollar for the home. And mark my word, it's to win as we move forward will not be your conversations with the buyers to get them into what the market we used to have. It's going to be your conversations with sellers to get them into reality. You got to remember, and this is the strongest point I want you to remember what I'm saying right now is the golden rule. Who knows what the golden rule is? Somebody give me the golden rule.
He who has the gold wins.
There you go. So he who has the gold makes the rules. Who has the gold, you guys?
Sellers.
Nope.
Oh, the buyers. Yes, the buyers have the gold.
Write this down, write it on your forehead, get a vanity plate. It says this, the buyers control the market. The buyers control the market. Now, well, wait a minute, we just came out of a seller's market. Yes, yes. However, if the buyers weren't paying the money, that wouldn't have driven the prices up. So in a seller's market, the buyers still control it. You take away the money, the market goes to dust. Are we any pushback on that? If that's the case, understand this. If you see sales fall, I want you to remember there's never a shortage of buyers in any market. I'm going to say it again. There's never a shortage of buyers in any market. There is only a shortage of realistic sellers. All right, I'm going to stop just for a second. Anybody hearing anything that's like, okay, that's either saying, oh, this is so common sense, Denny, get on with it, or it's like, I don't know if I'm really buying it. Any thoughts?
Denny, I think it makes perfect sense. However, our industry is not trained to think that way. So that thought process is going to be something new for many people to be able to hold on to.
Well, you said that really well. I don't think the industry's been trained that way. How many people have heard it the other way? Oh, there's no buyers out there. There's no buyers out there. Listen, you can sell a double wide in Afghanistan if it's priced right. So any pushback on that, you guys, because it's fundamental for us to work. We've got to understand if you put water in the freezer and it freezes, the freezer didn't freeze it. The freezer created the environment. Physics froze it. Our industry works the same way. Point number 3, and I'm almost done. Your guess doesn't matter. Your opinion does not matter. Your opinion, my opinion does not matter when it comes to looking at the future. Now, we had the deal with sellers asking, oh, should I sell now? I mean, it started with COVID and we talked about shadow sellers. There's 7 types of shadow sellers, and we did our best to get sellers on. Now buyers are asking the same question. Should I buy now? Those are the 2 questions I want you guys to master. Those are the conversations I want you to master. Anything besides that is secondary to that right now. Because when it comes to the future, their guess is as good as ours. And I don't want you to be talking about the future and you can say this, that, or whatever. Whatever you're talking about the future, you are telling them, that I used this analogy with you guys before, you're attempting to tell them what the Powerball numbers are going to be this Saturday. You're not going to be able to do it. In fact, a very wise person said this, worth noting. Forget predicting the future, rather understand the present. Forget predicting the future, understand the present. Now, that wasn't Einstein. That was actually me. I just used Einstein to add a little credibility to the statement, okay? Number 4, last point. You guys should know this. We've been talking about this for a year and a half. Powerful conversations come from powerful questions. So as we work on our conversations about sellers, should I sell now, or buyers, should I buy now? Let it be question-based. So let's get into it, John. I'll let somebody fill in the blank. This is a buyer objection. I want to wait, and then somebody fill in a blank. Put it in the chat. Let's see, you all can type. Let's pick one out, maybe more than one, and let's handle these. Let's handle these objections, and I'll go to the seller side here in a little bit. So what would till the market crashes? Nice, Denise. To sell or buy to the market, because I think we are heading into the recession. Yeah, a lot of people talk about the R word for the market to change. Okay, so John, pick out one of those that we can chew on.
Let's use wait till the market crashes, because we've heard that a couple times up here.
Got it. All right. We need someone to raise your hand who wants to practice. I don't necessarily, I know John will call on you. And if you look away, that's when we did it in classroom, oh, teacher, don't call me. I'm looking over there. We're definitely going to call on you then.
Well, I'm going to call out Yael because she just shut her camera off. It was on.
Anyone want to volunteer? We got one.
All right, Willie. Love it. Stepping up to the plate. That's how you get better, is by participating.
Now,
Thank you
remember
for
the
that.
model. Here's the model, you guys. Acknowledge, isolate, address, and close. And again, I want to wait. And how's it go? I want to wait until the market crashes, or I want to wait because I think the market's going to crash.
I'm going to wait till the market crashes.
Okay, got it.
We're headed there.
And so who is the agent and who is the buyer?
Willie's going to be the agent because he's brave.
Yael, are you ready?
And Yael still doesn't have her camera on. So let's go to Denise, since it's her objection first. She can be the buyer. She's obviously been dealing with this. Let's go real time what's happening right now in the market. Denise, you're the buyer.
Okay.
All right, you got 4 minutes. Get to the heart of it, Willie. Go.
Denise, so what I hear you saying is you feel that the market's going to crash. Tell me why you feel that way.
I'm going to stop you. You're not doing the model yet.
Oh.
Other than that,
Yeah, you got to isolate.
I got to isolate. Yes. So,
Other than
Denise,
that,
I hear that you're waiting to buy because you feel the market's going to crash. Why do you feel that the market's going to crash?
other than that, is there anything keeping you from moving forward?
Other than that, is there anything else keeping you from moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I keep seeing interest rates going up, and that has me worried. I think, it's temporary. And I just see a lot of price reductions in my market. So that's why I just think, we're kind of at that bubble, and I want to wait until the market really drops, and then I'll jump in.
Jump in. I like that, Denise. You're not afraid you might price yourself out due to the rising interest rates predictions this year, maybe 1 or 2 more bumps. I would love for you to save on some of that interest by
Ask,
Maybe.
then stop talking.
Yeah, when you ask a question and start talking again, you're just kind of like shooting yourself in the foot.
You're
Ask
right,
the
Denny.
question and stop.
90-10, 90-10.
Yeah, I think even if they do go up a little bit, I think, you know, the prices are gonna come down just so much that it won't really matter. Like I'll offset it.
Yes, there is a little bit of washout that happens there. So besides the higher interest rate and waiting for the market to crash, what else is keeping you from buying?
Just watching, I've seen, you know, on Zillow, I see all the prices keep dropping on a lot of houses. And it seems like they're sitting there longer.
Denise, I'd love to address that. Wouldn't you want to, capture some of that lower cost?
I
Okay.
do, but go on, Denny.
That's just what you've got 1 minute.
I do, but I feel like it's gonna keep going down. So I just, I think right now I'm gonna sit out the market, wait 6 months, maybe wait till after the elections and see what happens.
Well, maybe we could sit down and break that down and see what that looks like.
You are sitting down. These conversations take place at a table.
You're right.
You
Gotcha.
wouldn't want to do this on the phone.
Well, I guess I'm just figuring out a hard way to close.
All right. Well, that's 4 minutes. Okay, so that's a good warm up. All right. So to debrief this just a little bit, and anyone who wants to participate can participate. I'll start with Willie. And what do you know about Denise's motivation?
I did not ask. I should have asked.
Okay. What do you know about her situation?
I don't know. No report was made.
What is her concern about interest rates?
I do not know her concern. I assumed, which I shouldn't have, that she was worried about that it'll go up.
Now, let me give you guys some. I've talked about this before. I'm going to give you a new picture to look at. Okay. So you watch, if you ought to pin me, forget about me. I want you to see my screen. So I don't know if John, if you have the way to just highlight me for a moment. I want to make sure you see my screen because I want to give you a slide I've never shown you before. So I would just drop back a little bit when you're having your conversations. There's 2 things that I want you to do. I want you to understand what they see. When I say, and I'll give you an example, I've used this before. I'm playing catch with my dog. What do you see when I say that? Don, what do you see? Did you hear me?
I see you throwing a ball to a golden retriever.
All right. And what is the probability that that picture in your mind matches mine?
2%.
Got it. And so when a buyer or seller gives you a statement, they have a picture in their mind. I'm afraid the market's going to crash. I'm concerned about the rising interest rates. I'm seeing all these houses that are reducing prices. What does that mean to them? So that's number 1. And by the way, that's the dog. That's the dog I'm playing catch with. But it could have been a Frisbee, and it could have been a little Chihuahua. It could have been anything. However, the point is, and you've heard me say this before, if you're attempting to handle an objection, remember, an objection is no more than a picture in their mind. And you don't understand what they're seeing. Can you see there could be a disconnect? Mm-hmm. There was a book that was written about men from Mars and women from Venus, or maybe it's the other way around. It's how we communicate. Communication is very complex. So the next thing I want you to write down, understand what they see. Here's the other part. This is how we win. They don't need help understanding what they see. We need help understanding what they see. What we need to help them with is help them see what they don't see. What do I mean by that, John?
What angle are they not considering? What other parts of the equation or circumstances come into play, typically any buyer, any seller is going to get hung up on one, maybe 2 points. And Denise hit on them in this case, and she hit on prices are going to drop and interest rates. Awesome. You start digging deeper, you find out a little bit about her situation, then you can start asking questions around that to help her see a different direction. And, you know, Denise, if you don't mind, can we continue that role play from that part? Is that okay, Denny?
Yes, you may.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Denise, I understand that you've got some concerns about prices coming down and interest rates going up. Tell me more about it. What specifically concerns you?
I just don't want to overpay for a property.
Okay, I get it. What's overpaying?
Well, I had friends that during the last, in 2006, 2007, where they lost their properties, that their mortgages were more than what they, what they could sell it for.
Excellent. So Denise, we're gonna go ahead, and that just gave the good example of you start digging and you find out what her fear is.
Yes, that's beautiful. You guys, you're exactly right, John. Now you see where her fear is coming from. It's coming from something that happened 15 years ago. It reminds me of the movie Rudy, when he's sitting there where the dad is talking to Rudy, don't go to school, don't go to Notre Dame. Don't chase your goals. My dad did that. He raised these cattle, they all died, and it was a terrible thing. Now you see, now you get a clearer picture of what's going on in her brain by asking questions. When she said, I don't want to overpay, John says, well, what does that mean to you? That's like saying, I'm playing catch with my dog. Well, what kind of dog is it? Keep going, John.
Awesome. Okay, so Denise, you don't want to, I understand that, you had friends that lost 15 years ago and so on. So remind me again, do you currently own, Denise, or are you renting?
I'm renting.
Oh, okay, awesome. So now off script, she just totally dug herself a really big hole that she's not gonna be able to get out of.
Mhm.
So,
Well, on the other hand, I think it's giving you the opportunity to help her see what she's not seeing.
exactly. So, Denise, how much are you paying in rent right now?
$2,500 a month.
$2,500 a month. So what's that work out to per year? About 30,000?
Yeah.
Awesome. And how long are you willing to wait and pay somebody else's mortgage before you start building your own equity?
Well, I have 6 months left on the lease.
Okay. And what do you think is going to happen in the market in 6 months?
I think it's going to keep going down.
Okay. By how much?
I don't know, maybe 5%, 5 or 10%.
Wow, man, that's pretty aggressive. If I was that good, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation. So everybody's going to have their opinion of it. Let me ask you this: if you could find, well, let's start with this, Denise. How long do you plan on living and owning this home when you buy it?
Oh, I want it to be my forever home.
That's awesome. I love that. So Denise, if that absolutely great home that you look at and say, man, I love this, this is my forever home, is available right now, are you going to let $15,000 in rent come between you and living out the rest of your life the way you want to?
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but what if, that forever home is, 50,000 less next year or in 6 months?
What if it's not?
Yeah, good point.
All right, let's stop. Now that is a great example of digging and providing a little more clarity. Now there's some other ways to do it. So let's go to somebody else, John, and we'll do this one more time. Then we'll get into a couple of sellers. What John was doing, we had practiced this a little bit on role play. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, this is the first time I actually had it as a slide. This is the formula. And again, when I asked Willie, when Willie was doing the role play, what did you know about her? The first question you want to ask a buyer, and every buyer is going to be in one of two categories. They're going to own or rent. your conversation's totally different to an owner versus a renter. So do they currently own or rent? And then we talked at last time, I think maybe it was a couple of days ago, I might be getting my role plays confused, John. You can ask the question, do they want to play to win, or are they playing not to lose? That is a great question. However, you're going to have to practice that a little bit so you don't come off condescending. So, I mean, that question could come off a little weird if you're not comfortable asking that question. Now, here's the other three questions. What's the probability? Let's say they wanted to win. What's the probability? I'd ask them, Denise, has your rent gone up in the last, well, how long have you rented, by the way?
For 5 years.
I got it. Have you seen your rent change in 5 years?
Oh, they definitely have.
And do you think there'd be a possibility your rent will go up?
Maybe. I mean, I'm hoping when I go to renew it, maybe just a little bit, maybe, a couple $100s. I don't know.
Okay. Well, if the properties go down, that means people maybe are fearful of buying, and that may mean more people are renting, like you are, might put upward pressure on rent. The next question is, and I'm just going really fast, I want to let somebody else handle it. What's the probability they're going to build equity? And you could go back. So again, if you want to help them see what they're not seeing, somebody on the next role play, take them to pain. Take them to pain. Past pain, not future pain. And who wins financially in the long run, renters or people who own? I know I went through that fast. I don't expect you all to have that. I just wanted you to take a picture of the slide in case you want to follow a model. So let's do it one more time. John, pick out the buyer's objection. I want to wait until blank. And so there's a couple other ideas that were put in there, and we can, if you can find one. And then who would like to have a 4-minute role play as the agent?
Most of the buyer objections revolved around the market changing or crashing.
Okay.
So
I'll let
we can continue with that one if that works with you.
perfect.
All right, awesome. Who would like to be the agent handling this? Who wants to? Madeline already smiled. She's like, please don't call on me. Don, all right. We have a volunteer.
I was going to work for the seller, but okay.
No. Don Aldridge is stepping up to be the agent. So, Madeline, we're going to save you for the seller, all right?
Okay.
Let her be the buyer. Let her be the buyer.
All right. Madeline will be the buyer, and then we'll roll her right into the first seller objection.
Okay.
4 minutes.
Okay. I'm sorry, is it Madalise?
Yes, my ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
So Madalise, remind me again, do you own your home, or are you renting right now?
Should I just say I own?
You're renting.
To do a different, should I say I own to?
No, you're
Yeah,
renting.
you can make yourself an owner.
Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, I
Roll
currently
call
own my
buyer.
house. I currently own my house.
So you currently own your home. Okay, great. And do you have to sell in order to buy the home that you want, Madalise?
Not especially, no.
Okay,
I might
so
just, yeah, keep it.
so if you were to find the perfect home that you want to buy and live in, would you keep this home, or would you keep it as a rental, or would you sell it?
No, I'll probably keep it as a rental.
Just for clarity, she never really articulated her objection. So go ahead and articulate your objection so we know what we're talking about. That you don't. Here was the statement. Fill in the blank. I want to wait. You're the buyer wanting to buy another house. I want to wait because of you think the market is heading south. Let's just use that. You think the market's going to retreat or a recession's coming. Now you know, Don. So keep going.
Okay, well, so what do I know? What she wants to wait for? What?
I want to wait until the prices go down because I do need the space. I need more space, but I don't have to move. I would like to move, but I don't have to.
Okay, so you would like to move, don't have to move, and you're looking for more space. Is that correct in the next home?
Right. Family's growing. I need more space.
Excellent. So what specifically, Madalise, is your concern with waiting for the market to go down?
Honestly, I just don't want to overpay for a house that I don't really need right now.
Okay, so you don't want to I got it.
You caught yourself. Good job.
I caught myself.
Yeah, good job.
I thank you. I'm learning. I got that. So what do you mean by overpaying? Help me understand.
Well, I mean, I'm not willing to put in an offer on a house that I find is it checks all the things that my family and I are looking for, and I don't want to put $20,000 over asking just so I can win the offer.
Okay, got it. So what happens if you stay in this property?
Well, it'll be a little bit uncomfortable, but we've made it work. So I guess we could wait another year.
And what does uncomfortable mean? What's that mean to you guys?
Means not being able to do my Zoom meetings in total privacy. I'll have my kids running around and the dog barking and, that kind of thing, especially now that summer's coming.
I see. Okay. So do you want to stay in that situation for the next year? Or would you really like the opportunity to get something bigger and have some space?
I would love the opportunity to get something bigger. I'm just not willing to overpay for any property at this time.
Okay. Do you have to overpay in this market right now?
I feel like we do. Yeah.
What happens if you don't?
Well, then that'd be great.
That would
But the
be
way
great.
that the market is right now, I mean, isn't there multiple offer scenarios going on all the time?
Well, that certainly has happened.
1 minute.
May I share something with you, Madalise?
Sure.
It's not happening as frequently as it was. So what would happen if we found you a perfect home and you were the only buyer for it? Does that give you the advantage or the seller?
If you can find me a house that fits all the criteria and I don't have to overpay, then I'm on board. But if I
Perfect.
have to pay even $50 over, I'm not doing it.
I understand.
Time. What do you know about her, Don?
Well, I know she's cramped. I know she doesn't want to spend a whole lot of time. She's telling me she doesn't want to spend time in that house, but it's cramped and crowded.
Right? What's it going to take? What's her motivation? I mean, cramped and crowded. What's keeping her back?
Doesn't want to overpay.
Tell me what that means.
She wasn't willing to pay even $50 more than the list price.
Well, when she said, I won't pay $50 more, she did not say list price.
True.
The first time she said, I don't want to pay $20,000 more than the asking price.
Then she got it down to $50.
But she didn't mean that. Are you clear that she meant $50 over asking price?
No, I'm not.
All right, so I'm just kind of curious. You guys are listening here. Where are the gaps in the story? Again, we're not clear on her picture yet. Who has spotted a gap? Yes, Paige.
Yeah, so maybe to know how long she's going to live there, because if she's not going to live there for 30 years, she's not paying that extra $50,000 or $20,000. She's only paying for the years that she's living there. And the other thing that hasn't come up yet is asking about interest rates, because what's more important to you, the price tag on the house or your monthly payment?
Okay, that could be a factor. All right. Any other input? Where are the gaps in the story?
So Don did a really good job, I think, of bringing out the present pain, which is cramped house, kids running around, especially in the summer, dogs barking while she's on Zoom. Two opportunities for future pain that I think he missed is, okay, great. So you're going to wait a year. What happens if prices don't change and they continue to go up? And B, what happens if a year from now you're still dealing with dogs and kids while you're conducting your business meetings?
I forgot to tell Don that my interest was 3.5 currently.
Your current house, okay.
Yes.
All right, so anyone want to take it from there? Well, I promised the seller one. So
But how do you steer the conversation into like helping them see what they're missing when their interest is currently lower? than what they
Let
could
me see
potentially.
if I can land the plane real quick, then we'll go into the seller side of it.
Okay.
I'll just pick up, Don was doing a good job. And so I'm just gonna say this, okay, so although Don, you said it twice, I don't like the term perfect house. It really sets an expectation, so I'd probably get rid of that. That's my feedback for you. So let me ask you, so you said you wouldn't pay $50 over. $50 over what?
Over however, well, I guess of list price, because I don't want to be competing with other offers and now I'm having to waive my appraiser and, definitely I'm not waiving my appraiser. But
So my guess, the alternative is, are you saying then that you want to buy a house nobody else wants?
what do you mean?
Well, if you have competing offers, that means a couple of things. One, it's a desirable property. So do you want an undesirable property or desirable property?
A desirable one.
Number two, it means it was probably underpriced. That's why everybody wants it. Like if you basically have tickets to Shania Twain front row and you're going to see Shania Twain, and assuming you like Shania Twain and a sold out concert, can you get maybe over asking price for the tickets?
Yes, I can see that. Yes. Mhm.
Because people want to be there. So if you don't want that, what I hear you saying is that you don't want a home that's desirable because and you don't want to look at something that's undervalued. The alternative is we look at the homes that nobody else wants and ones that are overpriced. Is that what you rather do?
We're definitely not overpriced.
Now, do you see what I've just done?
Mhm. That was good.
Now, that's just one way of doing it. Oh, by the way, so when we go to, I know you don't have to sell, you said that. When we go to sell your house, do you want multiple offers on your home?
Oh, but I don't want to sell my house.
Okay, you don't want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
You said you did.
I wouldn't. I'll keep it.
Okay, so my question is this. If the right house was out there and it hit all your buttons, notice I didn't say perfect. Would it really matter if other people are wanting the same house? I mean, you have an opportunity to win that, even if you have to go over the asking price. The asking price, you'll never have to pay more than market value. So would that work for you? If you paid market value, are you willing to pay market value?
My only hesitation is that my current interest rate is at 3.5, and I don't want to overpay on a property and having my interest rates going to be higher.
Well, we're talking about two different things. You're not going to overpay. I promise you, you won't pay more than market value. Are you okay to pay market value?
If it's the right house for my family and I, then I could put maybe a little bit extra.
Well, okay, well, I get that. However, what you're talking about is, are you talking about your current monthly investment versus what you're going to have to pay for your new house?
Say that one more time.
You're talking about two different things. You're talking about overpaying. Now you brought in interest rates and you don't want to pay the higher interest. You got 3.5 now. What does that mean? So you guys, I don't want to take any more time going down this road because I want to get on the seller one. When they start bringing up things like that, you're going to have to cover it. However, what does it mean? I'm paying 3.5% now. What does that mean, you guys? Anyone tell me what does that mean?
I'm overpaying on my house for the new house, right? To just win the offers. In their mind, they're thinking, I'm going to pay for the house to win the offer. So it's going to be, I don't know, 20,000 or whatever extra. But then on top of that, my interest rate is going to be higher because of what it is now. So I'm paying a higher mortgage, basically.
I think your motivation is what matters, and 3.5% might not matter. Maybe I'm not hearing it right, but.
Well, I'll just talk about this because you're going to hear interest rate a lot. When somebody brings up interest rate, that doesn't mean anything, you guys. What does mean something?
Their reason for moving.
Who said payment?
Payment.
And it's not the payment. What really matters Payment's only part of it. It's the difference of what she's paying now to what she's paying in the new spot. So when they say 3.5, I gotta pay 6% now, you guys don't leave it at that because you want to bring it down to something that's tangible. Well, then this is John's cup of tea. John, you would go into your typical what? Reduce to the ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I'd reduce it to the ridiculous. I'd find out, well, great. So you're going to rent your house out. What do you expect to get for rent? And awesome. So how much is that going to net you per month? So Natalie, in this situation, let's pretend your mortgage is $2,500 and you can rent it for $4,000. Okay. So Natalie, when we find the right home for you, how much of your mortgage do you think that $1,500 is going to offset? Are you going to be paying more or less than you're paying now? That's one. Denny's already shaking his head. That's one way that I would handle it.
No. I get it. They're not going to know the answer. Give them something that will mean something. They won't know that answer.
Okay.
You won't know the difference. The house you're looking at is you're going to have to borrow $175,000 more at 6%.
So does anyone know, before I go into this part, does anyone know how much it costs to borrow $100,000 today?
Well, with the rise interest rates, I would say probably you're looking at $6 a thousand.
You're looking at about $550 as of this morning. Actually, it's 536. The average interest rates this morning across the country were 5.02, which works out to about $536 per $100,000.
So that's $5 a thousand, guys.
Yep. So it's not much different than it was a couple months ago. So Natalie, you know, you're looking at buying a house that's going to be how much? $100,000 more than your current one? How much more?
Yes, more likely, yeah.
Okay, so $100 more than your current one. So you're going to be looking at, you know, $5.25 per $1,000 that you borrow.
Give her the number, John.
So that $100,000 is going to cost you what, $15 a day?
No, yeah, this is $500 a month. Then you can reduce it.
Okay.
You guys, I mean, John he is like Rain Man when it comes to numbers. So that's I have to.
I get ahead of the game. I apologize. So Natalie, it's going to cost you about $500 a month more.
Oh, and then by the way, you brought up something I never thought about. How much you're making? How much more on your rent over your mortgage payment?
$1,500.
And I know you might have some expenses, etc. So can you see yourself? You're basically making money to move. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense.
And guess what,
down.
Natalie? If you really want to get crazy about it, your tenant is paying your principal and interest on your current home, and they're paying down your principal for you every single month on your new home.
Yes.
So someone else is buying 2 homes for you.
What a great point. Make sure you add them to your Christmas card list, right? So
that's good.
Here's the thing, you guys, there's a lot of ways to handle with questions. The important part is, number one, understanding and have a clear picture of what their situation is. Then figure out, then how can you help them see what they don't see to make it move on. Let's move to the next one really fast.
All right, the next one we've got is Natalie is going to be the agent, and it is her objection, which is, I don't want to drop the price.
I want to wait for what? Okay, so I don't want to drop the price?
I don't want to drop the price. It's not
Got
time yet. Whitney is going to be the seller. Now, Whitney may be in San Diego, but she was born and bred up in New England, so I know she can be tough. 4 minutes. Ready, set, go.
Hey, Whitney. So we've been on the market now for 2 weeks, and we've gotten 5 showings so far, but no offers yet. So as we mentioned at the beginning when we first met and when we were listing your house, we talked about this possibility where we would put it on the market and we would have a few showings or a number of showings, but no offers at all. So I think it's time we kind of rethink about a new strategy here. What do you think about that?
What do you mean by that?
That was a weak question. That was a speech and a weak question.
It was horrible. Okay.
Be bold and just ask the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a little help.
Denny, how do you feel about a price adjustment for your house?
I don't think it's necessary at this time.
Okay.
Hmm.
Can you help me understand that?
Yeah, I just feel like there wasn't any marketing done, and we only got a few showings, so I feel like we should have multiple offers and be in escrow by now.
This is a real conversation. I can see. That is very typical seller talk right there.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, Whitney.
Now,
Where?
Go back to the outcome sheet. I got it. I have it right here. You were using that. You just didn't have it nailed. Don has it right in front of him.
I can't read it. What does it say on the first one?
Well, you remember, this is what you were attempting to do. You remember, Whitney, when we, right? There were 3 outcomes. The first outcome would be low to no showings. In fact, you had whatever. Outcome number 1 is low to no showings. Outcome number 2 is we have showings and no offers. Outcome number 3, it sells. We've had 5 showings in 2 weeks. What outcome do you think we're at?
Okay.
I just asked the question. Go ahead and answer it.
I would say we're at showings and no offers, but is it really the price or is it your efforts?
Okay, well, so you're wondering it. Well, again, when we talked about this up front, we said what would be the remedy if we basically saying the bait is here and the fish are just nibbling, but they're not biting? What did we say 2 weeks ago when we listed the home?
That we may need to think about the price.
Repositioning the bait, right?
Yeah.
And so from a marketing question, so I'm not going to answer this. I'm going to send it back to you. Who was it, Natalie?
My ladies.
Whatever. Okay.
My ladies.
Okay, so she's questioning your marketing. Now she set you up to win this.
Okay, so my instinct is, okay, Whitney, so other than doing open houses every weekend, since we put the house on the market, marketing it on Facebook, on various websites, and to agents outside of state, like, I know that's a speech, yes, okay.
You can show her the marketing and where's it going to come from. This is your ace in the hole.
What do you mean by that?
You go to your internet and you go to the what do you call that stuff? What's the word, John?
Google Analytics.
Analytics of your website. Well, you can see here and say, let's take a look at this. Do you know how many people look at your home? Oh, I don't mean walk through it. I'm talking about look at it online. We had 345, came up in 345 searches in the last 2 weeks. 75 people took the virtual tour and 13 people put a heart by it. Yet 5 people wanted to look at it. So you can see what the marketing is working.
Denny, another point for those.
That is like checkmate right there, guys. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
For those that have Matrix, and your other MLS providers probably have the same thing, Denise, you pointed out something awesome, which is you have a hit counter on all your listings. So you see how many agents see it, you see how many people have been emailed your listing specific. So you've got all of this data. And what does that do exactly, Kim? The reverse prospecting. So what does that do? You got to find a softer way of saying what I'm about to say, which is 473 people have seen your home and have said no to viewing it in person.
Now, perfect. Now, here's where you want to soften it with, you own a retail store. How many people? Don, you know this story. What's the story? Denise, anyone, what's the story? It's perfect right now.
1 million people come and nobody buys anything.
Well, all right. Yeah, that won't go over.
You got a car on the showroom floor. Everybody walks by it, but only 3 people have test driven it. What are you going to do with that car?
No, you got to slow down a little bit. It could be a car. I use a jacket. They walk around the car. What's the next thing people do, you guys?
Look at the price.
Oh, they look at the price and walk away.
So if it's not their price, condition, or if it's not their location or the condition, it's gotta be the price.
Well, now you're talking to a purist here and nothing matters. Can you change the location, Kim?
No,
No.
Have you ever seen a house that looks like a model home right out of Southern Living, perfect and not sell?
no,
What? There's homes out there that are immaculate that do not sell. Okay? Who agrees? And we've had houses that hoarders live in that sell. So condition is a function of, price is a function of condition. So I just want you to know. I want you to know. I want you to have true religion. It's always price.
and they're pricing themselves out of the market, so they're missing the people that where if they priced it correctly, that they would have captured. They're selling everybody else's house in the neighborhood, is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically true. If that car sits on the showroom floor and no one test drives it, I use the story of the rack, and you got a clothing store and they come in, they pull up the jacket and that's pretty nice. That's the next thing I do. I don't try things on until I look at the price. Now, I'm sure my wife doesn't even look at the price. She just tries it on, she likes it, she buys it. I just would look at the price, and if they put the jacket back, well, isn't that saying the marketing's working? People are coming in your store, they're looking at the home, they're just looking at the price and not buying it. So that's where you want to go with that. So keep going. Let's see if we can land a plane.
So Whitney, after seeing that 600 people are looking at your home and only 5 have actually scheduled to go see it, what do you think is keeping them from actually putting in an offer?
I don't quite know. That's why I have you.
Okay.
Here's the question. Based on what I've shown you, can you see that the marketing's working?
Okay. Based on what I've shown you, do you think that the marketing's working?
No, can you see that the marketing's working?
Can you see that the marketing's working?
Yeah, it looks like people are looking at my house.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, it looks like people are viewing the house.
Okay.
And so that puts us at what outcome?
Let's reduce that price. Boom.
Who said that?
Whitney.
Yeah, well, no, you can, so you don't give in. So what outcome are we at?
You're saying that's what I should ask.
Yeah, you don't have to ask because I'm taking over for you. You guys, here's what I want to make sure you understand about this outcome sheet. Don't tell them what outcome that is. Ask them what outcome they think it is. So we're based on the 5 showings you've had in 2 weeks, do you consider that outcome 1 or outcome 2? Because clearly it's not outcome 3. Whitney?
Oh, we're going with 2.
Okay. So we're the bridesmaid, not the bride. So my question is, if the doctor gave you medicine that wasn't working, how long would you take it before you wanted medicine that did work?
Less than 2 weeks.
Well, then according to what we talked about on day 1, it's time to reposition, right?
Sounds fair.
Then see, that's what I would do. Anybody have any thoughts on that or handle it any differently? What if she says, no, I want to keep it there? I'm going to be the seller right now. I want to keep it there.
Hey, Denny, real quick, for those that do not have the sheet, if you go to Mastery of Real Estate on Facebook, it is in the files. Denny Grimes, Mastery of Real Estate, on our Facebook page. That 3 outcome sheet is in the file section. You can download it anytime you need it.
Can you put that in the link, John, in the chat real quick?
So will you then, Denny, would I then say, okay, well, let's talk about what was the purpose of putting your house on the market in the first place? Like her motivation.
Remind her for why.
Yeah, you could go back to motivation. Well, I'm not in a hurry.
Okay, when you say you're not in a hurry, what do you mean by that?
I'm not desperate to sell. I mean, I can buy another house without selling. And again, I don't really have to be in Orlando until January. So it's okay. It's only been 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. What?
So I'm thinking, okay, how do I translate that? Okay, have you heard about the market shifting? And
Okay, so now that's a good question. Now, with that line of thought, here's what I'm going back to the slide real quick. What is she doing? It's exactly what I talked about right here. She's helping me see what I may not be thinking about. I understand you're not in a hurry. However, have you been watching or hearing anything on the news about what's happening with our economy right now? Have you noticed that gas prices are going up? You're going to ask them a question like that, right? Well, yeah, yeah. It's not affecting real estate, is it?
as a matter of fact, it is.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you mean it is?
Well, we're starting to see, although the interest rates have gone up in comparison to last year, we're starting to see there's a lot more inventory.
Hang on.
Yes.
Instead of saying the interest rates are going up, why don't you ask? You've got to lead me. You've got to lead me. You can't preach to me.
Okay.
Have you heard that interest rates are going up? Well, yeah, I've seen that. I haven't paid attention, but I've seen it on the news. What's the next question?
Have you seen more for sale signs in your neighborhood?
Okay, that could be one. However, it's like, have you seen the interest rates go up? Yeah, well, do you think that as
that has a lot of oil. You need to clean your hands before you touch other things. Here. Right there.
As interest rates go up, do you think that's more buyers for you or less?
There you go. Is that taking more? So do you think that puts upward pressure on price or downward pressure on price? Again, you are only beginning to help them understand because you don't know what the market's going to do. So don't predict it. You're doing the right thing right here. So you understand. So here's another question. If you knew your home was worth less every day, how long would you wait before you sold it?
I wouldn't want to wait.
So if you don't want to wait, then selling it sooner would be better for you than selling it slower, correct?
Correct, but what guarantees that I won't be getting the price that I want in a few weeks?
Well, it could happen. I mean, I'm only showing you basically that right now the market's saying no. I mean, there could be a lightning strike. However, I just want you to know while you're waiting for that outlier event, your home's value may be eroding out from under you. This is your home. I'm the doctor. You don't have to take the medicine. It's totally up to you. I'm here to protect you. So are you ready to reposition or do you want to wait?
I'm not convinced. I think I'm going to wait because I don't have to be in Orlando until the end of the year. So I still have some time.
Now we can end on this, and this is the beautiful thing. There's no pressure there, right? No one's going to get into a fist fight. You're not going to pressure them and say, I'm going to hold my breath until you lower the price. You're not going to do that. However, if you go back there and now in a week or two, and let's say it's a month, and you start to they're talking about the recession, and now there's several more homes for sale. Can you not refer back to that conversation? Did you not warn them?
Absolutely.
That's all we can do.
And at that point, I think it would be an easier conversation to have.
I have a question, Denny.
Okay.
So I have a different method. Obviously your method works, but so if I'm in that situation, tell me if this is a bad line to say. Basically, I tell people there's no such thing as underpricing in this market. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get more eyes, more people in the door, which hopefully generates more offers. So I'm super direct, but obviously that's a good thing and a bad thing. But would you just come in with that? On top of learning, okay, what's most important to you? I understand they're playing hardball, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm like, look, this guy's unrealistic, let me just say, what it is. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on that is I don't know exactly what you mean. There's no way you can underprice a home in this market.
Meaning the worst that can happen is you get more people that want to see it, which essentially will generate more offers.
In theory, that can work. However, can you think of an example? Could you say that that works 100% of the time?
In my experience, yes, but I don't have a lot of experience.
Well, the interesting thing is that every time you list a house that sells, even with multiple offers, can you then document the fact you sold it at top market value?
Kinda.
You can't. I mean, but yeah. Well,
We don't know, but in
I don't-
theory, yes.
yeah. I don't know how the line helps you. I don't know of many sellers out there that are really considering underpricing their home.
Not underpricing, but I feel like I've been lucky because coming out of the gate, we're coming in at a reasonable number. So I haven't had to have price reduction conversations yet. But I mean, like, if somebody says, hey, I want to list my home for $1 million, and I'm like, cool, well, the comps are saying max is 950 or something like that. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's list it at $1 million. And in 2 weeks, if you get no offers, then let's revisit this conversation. And okay, we get one showing, no offers. 2 weeks later, I'm back at the house.
Do you use the fishing sheet?
Yeah, well, I would. I haven't, but I say that before I even knew that sheet existed.
Well, you've just been lucky because the market is making everyone successful when you list. That's going to change.
Yeah, exactly. But the direct approach, is that a bad? The whole underpricing thing, like, is that a valid thing in a shifting market with where we're going? Is there really such thing as underpricing a home? I think it's just going to generate the most offers.
Whitney, put yourself in the seller's shoes.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it.
If an agent says to you the words underprice,
I tell them it has nothing to do with market value. I tell people that. I say, look, there's list price and there's market value.
Not a problem. But if you're a seller having that conversation, I'm sitting here listening to this, put myself in the seller's shoes. I heard 2 words.
Underpriced, not enough.
Everything else I flushed because I heard 2 words that caused a lot of pain that I don't want to do as a seller.
So we can go over that next time if you want. It's been a while since I've used the pricing graph, and I picked up on that too. I don't like those words. And if he was interviewing or she was interviewing, the seller was interviewing, and I came back in and had more of an aggressive approach. Again, I don't even subscribe to what you said. The comps say 950 and I want $1 million. The comps are only past data points. They're not saying anything. I don't interpret that. They are just data points.
I agree. I think the market speaks, obviously.
So if he wants to list it, the past data points are at 900, he wants to list it at $1.50 million, what would you do?
I would basically say it's unrealistic. Or if I just wanted the listing, I'd be like, yeah, let's try that in 2 weeks.
Well, why do you keep saying 2 weeks?
Well, because that's what you guys were saying. As far as revisit the price, I would say in a week if we don't hear anything.
I get it. Well, I know we've gone long, you guys. I mean, I want to be respectful of your time, and we can have this conversation on it. There's nothing wrong with the direct approach. I personally don't see any value in saying there's no way you can underprice it, because I would be shocked as a seller if I wouldn't want to do it. And I'm not a big believer on multiple offers anyway. If you have the more offers an agent has on a listing only suggests they missed the market by a lot. And I don't think that's good. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents, and we can dig into that. There's a lot of ways to handle it. Anybody have an aha today before we go? Anybody have like a light bulb go off?
I liked your never a shortage of buyers, only a shortage of realistic sellers. That was my nugget.
Thanks, Whit. Anybody
Mine
else?
too.
Don't say perfect house. Hey, Denny, when we find the right house.
There you go.
And I like sharing the market data, you know, the analysis. The last 2 years, the market moved so quickly, we didn't pay attention to that. And I think that's something we're gonna have to provide the sellers now.
Awesome.
I
John?
like to understand what they see and help them to understand what they don't see.
That's exactly, that's the most important slide I put up there, is understand what they're seeing in their mind and help them understand what they're not seeing. And you'll win. John, any closing comments?
No, man, that was awesome this week. Guys, if you have anything you want to cover next week, shoot Denny or myself an email or a message on Facebook and we'll get prepared for it. And I'll be
Can I
coming
get
to
a
you.
quick yes or no on something?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you say there's no such thing as underpricing, it has nothing to do with market value, or there's no such thing as pricing too low in regards to the whole market value separation that people don't really understand. Like, is that a yes or no approach in your mind? That's all I want to know.
I don't see how it helps you.
If I'm talking to a buyer, it makes them understand, oh, people aren't really paying over market value, they're paying over the list price. But when you're talking to a seller, it's, we need the most people to come in here and see this place and fall in love, and that's how we're going to get offers.
So with that, and when you want, you price everything you list at $1.
Then we're golden. No, I'm just kidding.
As a seller, I would hear that as you're trying to sell my place cheap.
I agree. I'm with you, Terry.
It just turns me off. I mean, and I get your point, but that's how it comes across. You're trying to get it cheap so that you can get your commission and move on to the next client.
Yeah.
So I don't just spit that out, by the way. This is at the end, once they understand marketing and all this, whatever. But okay, yes. No, I understand.
On the pricing too of the house, right? I mean, if it's something that's, I don't know, I mean, here where I'm at in Houston, if it's something between 200 and let's say 185 to 275, you do want to price it lower because you do get into that multiple offer and then they get over asking. It just depends, in my opinion, on the type of house it is.
That's why we're on this call to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would do everything you can to avoid using the words low and under when speaking to a seller about pricing. Just remove them. Price doesn't matter. It's not under price or low price. Price doesn't matter.
Just to answer a quick question that Don asked, it's Denny Grimes, the Mastery of Real Estate. And I do offer group and individual training if you want more information about that. I mean, we do this way. If you like some more small group, 4 or 6 people, we can get into more deeper things. And I do offer that. Just email me and I'll talk about it. Or I do offer one-on-one.
Denny Grimes, what?
Yeah, it's right here. Let me get the email up there. So you can see it's Denny delivers training at gmail.com.
That's where we get all the YouTube.
No, YouTube is just go to YouTube and Denny Grimes, the Master of Real Estate.
It is in the chat. I put the link to YouTube in the chat.
And one more thing I'll say, I just say to buyers, in this market, we don't call it the asking price. We call it the starting line. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
So I don't use, that's what, and I think you had a school buyer. So anyway.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. Be careful out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.